Okay, welcome back to another occult healing session, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing well within this quarantine, within this time period. Again, this is the time period for you to be gathering knowledge, for you to be focusing on your purpose, for you to be connecting with the ones you need to connect with. All right, like I said before in other videos, this is the time period where some people rise and others fall. As the people that are awakening, this is your time to rise. Anytime there's a crisis, all right, so you got to think about this for future references. Anytime there's a crisis, this is your time to rise. So I am going to explain how you can rise by helping you understand the chakras, because this is the stairway to heaven, so-called heaven. We don't mean in the Christian way, all right? We mean in the Bob Marley way. You guys understand that? All right. The chakras are basically is a representation of a ladder to understanding yourself, which is understanding reality. All right. Hope you guys are with me. So what I'm going to teach you here is how to understand thyself. You might not have heard a lot about what I'm about to say concerning these chakras. And again, I tell you guys all the time, this is because a lot of people that, promote the new age movement, they don't go deep enough. They just regurgitate information. And that's not what I'm going to be doing here. Okay. So, of course, the first thing we're going to speak on is the root chakra. All right. Believe it or not, this is the most vital chakra to understand. Now, in the spiritual community, of course, most people do not understand this because they're so focused on higher realms. They're so focused on spirituality and diving within the mind and astral projecting and manifestation that they forget the most important chakra, and that is stability. That's why, as you can see, most individuals are not stable. Well, when they call themselves so-called spiritual, you don't sense stability, do you? You don't hear a groundedness in their voice. Okay? You don't sense that with these people. These people are somewhere not here, obviously. So when it comes to so-called people that get into spirituality, this is one of their weak points. But here's the thing, guys. This is the first step. Okay? So let's get into it. So first, the representation of the dragon. This is where your kundalini lies, the snake, the dragon, the beast. All right? That mystical energy that we're always talking about, which I've explained to you before, that it's sexual energy. Now I know, you might think sacral chakra. We're going to get to that. But this is energy itself. This is the dragon, the beast. So this is this is your foundation as an individual. Okay. And, me getting into energy, and I mean energy for everything. Everything is sexual energy. So your energy to do something, your energy to find purpose, your energy to take care of your family, this is all stemming from one thing: the dragon, the beast, your body. This is what this is representing, your body. You see how this is the most important center? Because if you don't have your body, right, you're not experiencing here. You're here to experience pleasure and pain. That's how you grow. So without your body, how are you going to experience growth in this format? You see how this is the most important thing? Your foundation. Most of these people lack foundation. But again, this is the representation of energy. So again, when you're looking at somebody who has low energy, or you have low energy, you realize you have a problem with this energy center. Now we get to survival. What does it mean to survive? Think about it. We need food, shelter, clothing. Most likely you're taking care of your family. If you don't have these things in order, okay, if you don't have protection for yourself in this world, you don't have time to talk about spirituality. If you don't have food, shelter, clothing in order, you don't have time for anything else higher. Now you kind of understanding how a lot of spiritual teachers are teaching you backwards, to move backwards, to go back to the first step. For the most part, the world has passed this point of survival. We don't have to worry about the elements as much anymore. I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying for the most part, we've moved past this point. Why are there people trying to take you back to this point? Again, understanding reality. All right, this is the base core element, understanding reality. When you understand reality, you understand the dangers of reality. You understand that you have to protect your loved ones. You understand you have to protect yourself, your emotions, your mind, your stomach. You have to eat. Okay, this is what nature is. Again, as you can see, I'm going down the list. This is what nature is. Okay, nature. And by the way, let me look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does anybody understand what that means? The four, number 4, the 4 elements, the 4 worlds, the 4 pillars, the cube, your foundation, the four legs to your table. Okay, just want to make sure you guys understand. Again, I'm doing this so you guys can see. This is a message to your subconscious mind. This picture right here, you might want to just meditate on that. Okay, but this is nature. So when you hear people saying go back to nature, yes, you do need to recover in nature. That's important. Well, what do you mean by going back to nature? Going back to root 1, the root? Okay, where you're just a seed and you haven't blossomed yet. All right, again, this is just to ground you. Yes, you do need to visit nature. You need to heal in nature every so often. But remember, everything is a cycle and we have to go through these cycles. See, the problem is that human beings hate change and we love to be comfortable. So we always complain about the generation that we're in. Every generation thinks about the last generation. Well, I want things to be back how it used to be. That means you don't have this. You don't have understanding of reality. You see what I mean? Because you don't understand that reality moves. Nature moves. Nothing stays the same, guys. So this is the first step. As you can see, most people don't understand this. The first step, of course, your instincts. We talk about next, your instincts. All right, again, as you can see, we're well removed from our instincts. You know, when you have that, certain feelings in your body that tell you to do certain things, but then we let logic step in and stop us from doing those things because of fear. So this is where you conquer fear. Now, here's the thing. You can't stop feeling fear, but what I mean is you conquer fear. That means if you're feeling the fear, you still make a movement. Okay? You trust your instincts. You know what you have to do in this world. You know that you should get up and speak to those people. You know you should write that book. You know you should follow that music career, but you don't. You don't trust your instincts anymore. So then we talk about the materialistic world. The root chakra is a representation of the materialistic world. Here's the thing, guys. If you haven't mastered this realm, you can't go higher. Excuse me. This is the basics. Okay? This is why I'm always expressing that you get this together. That you that you take care of your family, that you find the income that you find what you want to do that'll bring you the income so you can feed yourself and feed your family and clothe yourself so you don't have to worry about survival. All right. And of course, this is a representation of the downloads that you receive from higher sources. All right. So hopefully that gives you a better picture. Look at this picture of the root chakra, of the materialistic world. This is why it's representing 4. This is why there's the cube here. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So now we're going to go up. So now let's talk a sacral chakra. Okay, so once you get once you have all these things in order, right? You're not worried about survival anymore. You come upon a certain energy called desire. You start to desire things that you don't necessarily need to survive, right? But this is a part of life, because this leads to creation. Again, I'm going to get to that. Of course, you can see creation on the list, but this is an introduction of desire. Okay, this is really an introduction to the true feminine, the divine feminine. Now, remember that the sacral chakra is the energy center around the sexual organs. Now, why would the root chakra be represented by sexuality? I know they tell you, because again, they're not seeing the metaphor here. They say, oh, the energy center is around the sexual organs, so it must represent sexuality, like procreation. That is the root chakra, guys. Procreation, procreation is survival. It's only common sense. It's just people are not diving deep enough. People are just regurgitating. They're just going off of surface value. Of course. So if the energy center is there, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, okay. So it represents sexuality. No, this represents desire, which it can turn into a higher form of sexuality, right? Instead of just procreating. You see the relationship there? But I mean desire, bigger desires. A desire to have more. This is what makes you human. This is what makes you a healthy human, by the way. When you desire more for yourself. People that, want to stay the same and are in their comfort zone, they still are in root chakra form. So think about this, guys. This is a lot of people still in the root chakra form when you think about it, because we call this being humble. We say, oh, we only want a certain thing, a certain amount to survive. That's all we need. That's all I'm comfortable with. You want to know why? It's because when you start going up this ladder, it starts becoming uncomfortable. When you start going up the ladder, it starts becoming uncomfortable. So, they got you saying this thing like, I'm humble. I only need, this much to survive because there's not enough to go around. That's you not understanding reality. If you think there's not enough to go around for everybody to be wealthy, for you to continue getting more, then you don't understand reality yet. You're still at root chakra base. All right. So projection and absorption. Of course, this is according to your so-called gender. Your sexual organs. So of course, if you have a penis, you're a natural projector. Natural, I'm gonna get to that. If you have a vagina, you're a natural absorber. Natural. Because obviously, this is a free choice, free world here, and you can go against these things. Okay? You can try to, the thing is, guys, projection and absorption is something that we need to understand regardless of your gender. So, for example, if you were born with a penis, then that means you need to understand absorption more. If you were born with a vagina, you would need to understand projection more. You see how this makes sense? As above, as within, so without. As above, so below. All right, but we're going to get in, these are just understanding the concepts of absorption and projection at this moment, but we're going to get more. So also understanding the world outside of self. All right, so when you're thinking about survival, you're only thinking about yourself and in your close family. You can't perceive anything outside of those that are important to you, like your base family. You can see how a lot of people are still in that root chakra, right? They haven't even got up this level. Because there's a lot of people that only care about themselves and those that are very, very close to them. They can't perceive anything else. Can't tell them about another country or what's going on in another city. They're not worried about that. They're just in survival mode. But when you get to this level, you start perceiving things outside of just your little bubble. You start to dance and understand the movement of life. This is also can equate to sexuality, right? Because you start to appreciate the other individual more. You start to desire the other individual more, which would be, again, somebody outside yourself. More intimate relationships. Okay? This is also the placement for creation. Any kind of creativity. That's why dance and movement is creation. It's a woman thing, right? Well, I should say it's a feminine thing. Okay, the dance and movement also is between masculine and feminine. Remember how I said that everything in this world is a dance between masculine and feminine? Everything in this world is sexuality. Can you understand that? Can you understand the connections between things? Like the connection that you have to the natural world, to your mental world, to your emotional world, to somebody else, period? Can you fathom that? Because this is what leads to you, starting to develop yourself. Self-development, self-help. I know you guys understand those concepts, right? Self-help, self-development. This is what this chakra represents. Okay? So let's go a little bit higher. So, all right, now we get to the solar plexus chakra. Now, this is where a lot of very successful people are at. Okay? People that have found their purpose, they're doing well in the world, they're just moving, they're doing things. Okay? Cuz this is ego and self-awareness. Self-love, purpose. You might have thought purpose was all the way at the top, right? What I mean purpose is like you found, your calling. Okay? Self-love, self-confidence, because you found your calling. This is when you see those people. I always use Will Smith as an example, right? As somebody that, that's somebody that just has a really powerful solar plexus chakra. That's somebody that really understands this third level. It's when they experience this happiness, this discovery of their own mind. That's why trust in the mind is right here. Okay? You're not gonna experience self-love until you find your purpose. True self-love. So anybody that's claiming that they understand self-love, but they still haven't found their calling yet, and that's just the ultimate way they want to express themselves, again, they haven't found it. They're on their way to find it, most likely. They haven't found it. This is when you start beaming. This is when you start shining. This is why the representation looks like a sun. Is you start shining. You just become vibrant because you have so much drive. This is also the placement of basic knowledge. Basic knowledge is understanding some of the basic things, such as regular mathematics. Anybody that has gotten astrology reading from me knows that the third house, right, is also the house of basic knowledge. So this is like regular psychology, business, and stuff like that. Again, People that become very, very successful, they understand these things very well. Okay? This is when you start going on your journey of discovery, which is most likely discovering thyself with a higher purpose. Because you might be thinking, all right, the root chakra is the self, right? Well, again, they're just trying to survive. They don't have enough time to think about anything higher than that. People stuck in the root chakra, they just do things for money. So they'll say, I got to work these 3 jobs because I got to pay these bills. That's something a root chakra person would say. And a lot of people say that, don't they? Well, a solar plexus person would say, I need to do this to change the world and change others. And then the money actually follows them. You see the difference here? Because they have so much self-confidence and self-awareness. This is when you start becoming conscious. The consciousness and ego is the same thing, guys. It's self-awareness. They have so much confidence, so much self-love that they're not going to settle for less. They won't do that. They're not going to settle working 3 jobs that they hate just for a paycheck and benefits. Solar plexus person wouldn't do that because they understand basic knowledge. They understand themselves. They found their purpose. They have drive. They're ready to take on the journey. They trust their mind. Trust in the mind. This is the moment you start evolving. You see this? The solar, as soon as you hit this moment, this is when you start experiencing evolution. Not on the root chakra. Okay? So hopefully this is making sense, guys. So now let's get to the heart chakra. Very rare chakra. And I know you see the type, it's not a typo where it says true inner standing. I mean true inner standing. We're going to get to that though. So this is a very rare element for people to understand on this planet, but you can, trust me. If you put in the work, you can absolutely understand. So this is where you feel true love. True love is when you love the good and the bad. Okay, so most people have not experienced true love before. And also most people criticize true love. So, for example, let's just say you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and and you're telling your friends about their flaws. And one of those flaws might be really disliked. And they say, you know what, you deserve better. You need to get away from that person. That's because that individual doesn't understand true love. When you hit the heart chakra, you understand pain and pleasure, okay? You understand, you feel for death and life because they're the same thing. You no longer judge by the surface of the book, by the cover of the book, okay? You no longer get upset at other human beings for what they do because you understand exactly why they do what they do. You no longer feel that, that anger towards regular people. So for example, let's just say you see certain people and they have an angry attitude, but you have true love. So you actually feel for what they went through because you got to understand everything is a program, guys. People are programmed to act the way that they act. So once you get to that inner standing that everybody is programmed, then you can no longer blame anybody. That's also not, you can never play the blame game anymore. People that have the heart chakra, they don't blame people outside of themselves anymore. They might say, oh, I made this mistake. This is when the individual starts to become awakened individuals. When they start understanding true love, you love life for what it is, right? You just accept it. Life is death and life is in life. Life is also pain and pleasure. Life is masculine and feminine. Stop trying to change it. Again, when people get to the heart chakra, they no longer try to change what is because they realize they can't. And then they start having a true love for life. This is a different kind of light that somebody starts giving off. This is when you become alive. This is why life is right here. Because you start becoming alive. You start to feel again. This becomes like a game to you. You're not taking things so seriously. You're not again, you're going to feel anger for other reasons, but you're not angry at the world. You start to feel again. Okay? Life becomes music. Anybody that understands music theory, you can't have just one tone. You got to have a whole bunch of things going on to create a masterpiece. So you really think that everybody in this world is supposed to be on one tone? Every country in this world is supposed to be on one tone? You don't feel for music yet. If you think that, if you feel that way, you don't feel music yet. Because if you feel music, then you'll understand the reason why it has to be all these different components. Of course, this is when you become open. See, a lot of you guys have been hurt in past situations and you become closed. See, the older you get, for the most part, in this society, the more closed you become. That's counterproductive to this part of the ladder, right? Because you can't, you can't move any higher if you're still closed. You could become very successful in the world with money and stuff and solar plexus, right? But then you still haven't achieved the deeper desires that you have because you're still closed. All right. But that confidence that comes from the solar plexus will lead you to this center. Because again, if you can't be open if you're not confident. These things all build on each other. You got to go up the ladder. I know everybody wants to skip steps. Everybody wants to start at the crown chakra and go down. It's not how it works, guys. You got to go up the ladder. The Tower of Babel. Okay. Openness. Oh, actually, let me go back. Openness. You're still scared. You're still scared to get your heart broken. You're still scared that people are going to laugh at you. That's not being open. You got to trust yourself. True understanding. That's what that means when you understand. Okay, you start following destiny. Okay, your heart center is also your protection center. That's why you guys are so scared all the time. It's because you have no protection. Your aura. This is also the center that creates your Merkaba. Have you ever heard of that term? If you haven't heard it, you might want to look it up. And of course, all these things are going to lead to peace, which is more so inner peace. Again, because you're not affected by these things that are going on in the world because you understand why they're going. You understand why they're going on, is what I mean. But you love life. Okay? Yes, people have to feel pain and people have to die, but you love life though, because you understand what life is. You're not getting mad at human beings because you understand what human beings are. You actually love human beings, actually. So that's how you create music. And that's also how you create inner peace. All right, so now we're going to go to the next chakra center, which is the throat chakra. Okay, so of course, once you've had this immense self-discovery, right? You've came up, you've basically evolved, you've changed who you are, you've changed your perception. You think that's the end of it, right? Some people promote All right, once you find yourself, disappear. It's not how this thing works. You can look at any of the sacred texts from any culture, and the so-called prophets always did something after they they had self-discovery and evolution. What did they always do after that? They always did this. That's what they always did. Leadership. Okay? They started leading others. I told you guys that you had to be a student and a leader at the same time. I actually should have had student here too. Student/leadership. Okay? You start leading others. You start wanting to change other people's lives, but not forcefully. But here's the thing, is because you understand these other centers. If you understand the heart center, then you know you don't have to force anything. You should always lead by example. You shouldn't be on the corner preaching to people. You shouldn't be on Facebook arguing with people, because you don't need to do that. True leaders don't do that. People just start following a true leader. We don't have to ask anybody to follow us. People just want to follow us. That's how you got to think. But you're leading by example, so people want to see results. If they see you getting results, then they're going to want to follow you. They're going to start asking questions, and then you can give them the answers that you found. Again, you might not be 100% correct, but you have understanding. So expression as well. Expression. This is when you have, again, you got to have that confidence in that heart center to even express yourself thoroughly. Most people, again, because of fear, they're too scared. So you express yourself to your audience. You start evolving them. You're evolving yourself, but then you have a desire to start evolving others, because there's nothing like that feeling that you get when you touch somebody and you change their life. If you never felt that feeling before, you have work to do. You need to do more work. Like I said, all these people talk about all this spirituality stuff, but they're not doing work. That's why they're always on YouTube. As you see, guys, I'm not always on YouTube because I'm working. Okay? We're out here in the world working, doing things, making things move, making people move, making people evolve. Leadership. That's what we're doing over here. We don't have time to sit on YouTube all day, every day, and upload all day and just meditate 100% of the day and do yoga all day. That's good. We do have a time period for that. There is a rest period where we do that. But the other days we're working. We're out here trying to change the world, because like we always say, we don't like the state that it's in, right? You say you don't like the state of the world. Well, why aren't you doing anything about it? When you have a strong throat center, this is when you start doing things. This is when you make a transition, not just for yourself, but for others. You understand truth. And I know truth can be subjective, but it doesn't matter. Live your truth. What are you? Who are you? Live that. This will give you endurance. See, the thing is, a lot of people in this community are very, very weak. They're not strong individuals, and that's why they always succumb to their downfalls, such as things like anxiety and depression. All these people in the spiritual community fall victim to these things because they're so weak. And it's because they keep sheltering themselves. They're not out in the world testing their energy, testing their endurance, testing their patience. They're too scared to go in certain environments. So they also tell you not to go in those environments. It's just like your immune system. If your immune system is never exposed, it becomes very weak. And that's the same thing with your energy. So you need to live your truth and get out there, so you can build your endurance, overcome the self. because the only thing that's holding you back is you. Okay, the only thing that's holding you back is you. So this is when you overcome the self. It's like, all right, you discovered this self, right? Now you take it to the next level. You overcome yourself because, again, these certain thoughts in your mind are going to want to, they're going to want to put that fear in there. You know how you overcome yourself? By understanding your mortality. Understanding that you don't have all the time in the world, that anybody could die at any moment. This is going to push you to overcome. This is going to give you more endurance. And then, of course, we have correction and improvement. Now, this is basically the same things. Learning how to correct yourself. So you're learning from your past, right? So you can improve for your future. You're not depressed over the past. You're not angry over the past. You're saying, how can I move things differently? Because this was all on me. You learn that in the heart center. You come to that discovery in the heart center that you can't blame anybody else. So what are the corrections that you can make from your past mistakes so you can improve your future? Makes sense? Yes. So now we come to the third eye, your favorite center, right? Everybody's favorite that nobody understands. Not nobody. I'm just saying, for the most part, everybody talks about the third eye, but a lot of people do not understand this in the New Age movement. Okay. So true perception, what is that? This is seeing reality for what it is. Okay. You can see things for what they are. See, a lot of times when we're talking about, opening your third eye, everybody thinks it's so mystical. They actually think that they can physically see things if they open their third eye. Again, you're stuck all the way down at the bottom because you don't understand how this thing works. It's not about your physical sight, guys. The physical sight is very small. It's a small spectrum of light of what you can see with your physical eyes. We're talking about this. You can see with your imagination. Okay? This is when you start discovering, oh, my bad. This is when you start seeing life for what it is. This is when you discover the four worlds. This is when you notice that everything is connected. There is no such thing as separation. But that takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of time to come to that true understanding. That's why true understanding is here. It takes you a while to get there. You also understand that as above, so below. As within, so without. Everything is connected. Not just physically everything being connected, but everything philosophy-wise too. This is the placement of the magician. If you look at the magician card, I should have had the magician card on here. The magician card in the Rider-Waite deck is the best example. You'll see that he has all four elements on that table. Of course, the coin representing the earth, the cup representing the water, the sword representing the air, and the wand representing the fire. All right, you can see these things in your imagination. You understand that the imagination is everything. This is why Albert Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. It's more important than basic knowledge. This is higher knowledge. I should have had that on here too on this list. This is the realm of higher knowledge. This is the person that studies the stars because they understand that the stars run this reality. And also this reality runs the stars because as above, so below. All right. As above, so below. True understanding. You realize your imagination is responsible for what you create. You also realize that everything is a cycle. So you don't get caught up in what these other people are doing. You don't get caught up in what's happening in the moment because you realize it's a cycle. It just keeps going over and over again. You become unpolarized. Because when you're polarized, you're always on one end of the extreme or the other. So you're with these individuals talking politics, right? Politics are important, but you are not walking the middle path. You're like, oh, blah blah blah, Democrat. I'm a Democrat, or blah blah blah, I'm a Republican. You're not. You're still polarized because you don't want to get it. You don't understand this is a cycle. And I'm realizing I have a typo on here because I see endurance is here. But yeah, endurance was not supposed to be here. Endurance is the throat chakra. Okay. But okay, so again, this is when you truly understand about walking the middle path. You're not trying to be overly feminine. You're not trying to be overly masculine. You're trying to bend the two because you have true perception. You say, oh, everything is a relationship. You come to that realization. You say everything is a relationship between the elements, which are the four worlds, the four pillars. And the combination of these things creates alchemy. Okay? So you understand things like, all right, like you understand transmutation, because that's what alchemy is a representation of. So you understand that the spirit transfers to the mind, which is thought. Then your thoughts transfer to feelings, which is the water element. And then those feelings drive your physical body. Now, we can get really, really deep on this, but this is really just the basic understanding of this concept. This is the test. Okay, again, I'm saying certain words because I want to inspire your subconscious mind. All right, and we come to the last center. This is not the last chakra, by the way. There's so many more chakras that go above this, that go above the crown. There are chakra centers all around your body that we don't talk about because we're talking about the things that affect you the most in this reality. This is why we don't talk about certain zodiac signs, or we don't talk about certain asteroids in astrology because they're not that important to your reality right now. Yes, they play, of course they play certain roles that are very small, but we're not talking about every single constellation in the sky. We're not talking about every single asteroid or comet or, again, you got to learn how to condense information. We got to learn how to make things simple because that's what true intelligent people do. They don't make things all complicated. All right. Now, again, if you want to do true study and just go deep into the details, that's for you to do on your own time. But as a teacher, you make it simple to your audience. That's what a true intelligent teacher does. So they can understand the whole first, then they can go into the details. All right, so the crown chakra represents the higher self. Let me explain the higher self a little bit, because remember, I told you guys that when you came to this reality, or before you came to this reality, you had to sell your soul to Saturn. That's why your soul is encapsulated in flesh, in the beast, the root chakra, the dragon, the beast. That's your key to unlocking yourself. Okay. But this is just a piece of, your so-called soul. Your so-called soul, the rest of it is still, I'm just going to give you a visual. Just pretend that it's in the sky and it's being filtered through. So the further you come down to the point where you get to your body, let me see if I can, again, you think about like, this is this is a representation. I know I'm doing it really bad. This is a representation of your soul, right? And this is a representation of your physical body. What's happening is it's coming down, being filtered into your body, but as it comes down further, it gets skinnier. The energy source gets skinnier. I know this is really bad illustrate. It's not even an illustration, but I'm just showing you with my mouse. But I hope you guys are understanding this concept. So your body's down here, your soul is up here. As it gets filtered through your body, as it comes down to your body, it gets smaller and smaller. The energy source gets skinnier and skinnier. Okay? Hopefully you guys caught that visual, that bad visual that I gave you. All right. So again, like I said, your higher self is the rest of your so-called energy. Okay. Now remember, for some reason, when you came to this plane, you forgot everything. We don't know why. Some people say it's because, there's so many conspiracy theories in the occult of why you lost memory. Some say it's because they did something with the moon that makes you lose memory. I don't know. I'm not going to get onto all that because it's not important. You see, I'm condensing information. It's not important. What's important is that you forget everything. But your higher self still tries to drive you to complete that contract. That contract is your astrology chart. Remember I told you guys that in my last live stream. Your chakra, your contract with Saturn, the things that you have to do on this planet is your astrology chart. Now, of course, when you die and you didn't complete that contract, you get more debt, and then you have to complete a new contract with Saturn. So that means you come back in another body. I'm telling you guys the secret. You come back in your bloodline. That's what the top echelon people do not want to tell you. That's why the same people have been running this world. Of course, they keep changing bodies because they keep coming back in different bodies. If you haven't heard any of this stuff, I know it sounds crazy. But life is a cycle. You'll come to that understanding when you understand this. You'll understand the cycle. It's not going to sound far-fetched to you because you already understand that. You come back to your bloodline, guys. So all the people that are not worried about their children and their children's children, you are very, very ignorant, and they want you to be ignorant. And of course, your higher self is connected to the universal mind. The universal mind is just the universal consciousness. So anybody that talks about the Akashic records, they're talking about the universal mind. This is also the fool's journey. Remember, anybody that understands the tarot card deck understands that the Fool card is you, and all these other cards in the major arcana is your journey. So in all actuality, the crown chakra represents the whole. Excuse me, it represents the great work. Remember what the great work is. The great work is all these things put together. So we're talking astrology, numerology, alchemy, high biology, so on and so forth. These are all together. This was called the great work. And because you understand the great work, you have true trust. You trust the universe now. You also welcome yourself into the world of light and darkness. So all those people that call themselves a light worker, they don't understand. Okay, they're somewhere stuck. Light and dark is the whole. It's the yin and yang symbol. So you think about the yin and yang symbol, this is a representation of the crown chakra. Okay. This is also the realm of your ancestors. How your ancestors and any other being, how they get in contact with you is through your crown chakra. Your crown chakra is like a vacuum for energy. It's always open. It's always swirling. So if you think about possession, if anybody was ever possessed, the entity would slide in through their crown chakra. So you communicate with your ancestors through your crown center. Okay? This is also the reawakening. Okay? The reawakening. Because remember, I said the awakening was in the heart chakra. Well, this is when you reach another level of awakening. Again, that's a whole nother presentation in itself. So I just want to help you understand these centers. Of course, this represents perfection, which is actually imperfection. But you would understand that, again, if you understood the third center. The third eye chakra. Perfection is actually imperfection. That's another secret, guys. So everybody that's praying for a heaven, like the heaven, the way that the masculine religions gave it to you, where all of a sudden everybody is going to be peaceful and awakened all at the same time. You don't understand perfection. You have a long way to go up this ladder. Okay, you also understand there's no such thing as time. Time is it's a hard concept for me to express verbally, but I'm just letting you guys know time is not what you think it is. Past and future, okay? Everything is a cycle. So everything is actually happening at the same time. Again, that builds upon this with understanding the cycle. So you become comfortable with the new concept of time. Okay? So I hope you guys, I'm just letting you guys know. I hope you guys understand these concepts, right? Understanding the ladder to understanding thyself in reality. This is what the chakras are for. Everybody knows why anybody started talking about chakra centers, your energy centers on your body. It's the ladder for the beast to climb upon to reach your pineal gland, which will activate your crown chakra. Okay? Most people are all the way down here. Most people are still wrestling and fighting the dragon. That's where the storyline where the hero goes and fights the dragon. That's the beginning of the story, right? Most people are still wrestling with that dragon. They're still in survival mode. They're still only thinking about themselves and who are important to them, their family members. They're still trying to decode the downloads from higher consciousness, which this is where you would get your uploads from. This is where you would upload from. Let me explain this concept. Because remember, you give and you get. You receive things and you give things. When you're talking about an upload, this is something that you're giving. You're giving your experiences that you gained here on this planet. So your knowledge gets uploaded to the universal consciousness, which then gets downloaded to somebody else. I'm going to let you guys sit on that. I hope you guys understood that and understood that. You have a job to do here that's going to benefit somebody else. Okay? So, because everybody's always asking me about, book recommendations, I just put together a few that I could, a few that are really you know, and I don't agree with everything in these books, all right? But again, this is how you find truth. And I want you guys to get some real books, not that new age stuff that just okay? I want you guys getting some real information. So, Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall, The Kabbalion, a lot of you guys have probably heard of that. The Mystical Kabbalah 777 by Aleister Crowley. All Aleister Crowley's works are fantastic. The Lesser Key of Solomon, definitely look this author up. Very good author. And also The Middle Pillar. These are just a few. Okay. So take into account, you know, think about some of these concepts that I was talking about. And as always, guys, make sure that you are, you know, that you're really going deep with your knowledge. Don't just listen to what, you know, what most people say. As you can already probably see, most people do not describe the chakra centers like this. All right. So as always, anybody interested in any of my services, astrology readings, tarot card readings, numerology readings I do now, the how to make money from home session, like I said, is important right now. I'm teaching people how to make money online. Again, all the people had the chance. I mean, anybody who's really focusing online is coming up right now. All right. The money spell, giving you the secret spell of the Masons to make more, to manifest money in your reality. One-on-one consultations, of course, with me over the phone. Just any of my services. If you're interested in any of those services, send me an email. Okay. At occulthealing22@gmail.com. The email will be in the description of this video. Let me put it here. occulthealing22@gmail.com. Some people say they keep getting it wrong. This is the email. The email is also in the description of this video. Send me an email. I'll give you a list of my prices and all my services. Other than that, continue to keep those vibrations high, and I'll see you next time. Ashe, and you already know. One love. Peace.